And welcome to the Marcus and Mike Show, guys. This is live, raw, and uncut sports talk with my man Marcus. How you doing today, Marcus?
Pretty good. Michael, what's going on?
Oh, it's another day closer to NFL football season. We are
Yeah.
officially 4 days away from the preseason.
Wow.
Believe it is the Falcons versus the Broncos. Is that who it is on the Hall of Fame
I,
game?
I'm not sure, but it's coming around the corner, and
Yeah,
man, I'll watch any football right now.
right.
Yeah.
I'm
I,
getting
I,
that
I'm
itch. I'm getting the crack cocaine hitch
yeah.
or
I,
whatever.
I, yeah. It wouldn't matter what football it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, just we are in full football swing mode here in Southern Indiana. We go full pads for the first time
Oh
a
wow.
day, so pretty excited about that. But before we get to the regular season and the preseason, we still got to be talking about this off-season stuff. Tyreek Hill is now coming
Yeah.
out again talking about the stuff that apparently he just doesn't want to die. Um,
Right.
Apparently, he was teaching his son how to box and to defend himself.
Right.
Um, First thing that comes to mind in like in my head is why doesn't he just let this die? Because
Yeah.
if this situation would just die, we would not be talking about this. Because now once again, it is going to be brought up like why are you teaching your son how to box? Why are you teaching your son how to
Right.
defend himself? And at I feel at this point he is going like he's asking to get suspended. He's like, you know what, just suspend me for four games. But what are your thoughts
Well,
on this?
I thought he handled himself okay in that little 4 minute whatever it was. I thought he was okay. Um, Listen, this is why people have publicists and spokespersons and all that, but Tyreek Hill doesn't. Okay, um, if you're Tyreek Hill, this is how you nip that in the bud, so it's not an ongoing issue. You say you let the reporters know that I'm going to address this today, and I'm not going to address anything else but football after that, and you be very adamant about that,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell your teammates, hey, I don't want you guys to get bogged down with my my own discretions, my own mess ups. So just tell them that you don't want to talk about it. If you want to talk about football, we'll do that. If you want to talk about Tyreek, you go ask Tyreek. And if I'm Tyreek, I say, guys, I addressed this today, and I'm not going to address it anymore. So anybody that asks me any questions about it, I will not answer it. And that's how you stop that stuff, man. He addressed it. He put it out there. There's a couple things where I think that I still have a little bit of problem with, but if I'm his teammate or if I'm his coach, I'm fine with it. Put him on the field. There's no the NFL didn't suspend him. There's no charges. There's no charges being brought against him. Let's move on. And if you're Andy Reid, you say the same thing. I'm going to address it today. Not addressing it anymore. I'm sorry, unless there's some kind of new information that comes to light that's breaking news.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
addressing it anymore. The only thing that's weird to me, I don't know anything about the Sun thing in terms of we don't know. It's a he said, she said. Okay.
Right.
Um, the only thing that bothered me a little bit that I thought was going to get him at least a one game is he did tell his girlfriend on the phone, you should be scared of me. And that's contract detrimental to the league. But they didn't even find any fault with that. I thought he was going to get one game for that. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that was a one gamer at least.
Right.
He didn't get anything. So obviously they feel that she's a crazy ass too, to be honest. And let me tell you something. He has to leave. I don't know if he's left that woman, but he has to. And if I was his family, I'd advise that because this
He
is
is.
why.
He did.
This is why. She's taping him at every, part of a relationship is trust.
Yep.
She's taping him on everything he's saying. So now anything he says could be put on Instagram, Facebook. She could go to the police with it. I mean, could you be with a woman that's taping you all the time? What you say?
No, not at all.
No. So I mean, that's just impossible. That would be because anything we say in private, I think could be getting taped. So there's
Yeah.
no way that even if you love, I mean, you love that person, you can't be with that person. So I thought he did well. I mean, and I would nip it in the bud right there. It's over. Don't want to. And if he's smart, he'll tell the reporters, please don't ask me about my son. Please don't ask me about it. The police have already done their investigation. The Kansas City Chiefs have done their investigation. I'm just here trying to play football. I apologize to my teammates already, and this is it. Okay? So right now at the Kansas City Chiefs camp, we shouldn't hear any more about anything about Tyreek Hill off field.
Yeah. So let me address some of the points that you brought up here. He did leave that girl. She is now his
Okay.
ex
All right.
fiance. Once that video or that recording came out,
Yeah.
like about their like I don't know if it's a phone conversation or just a back and forth conversation. The word X was quickly associated with that person after this.
Right.
I'm not even going to name the person's name because I think she's just looking for that 15 minutes like of fame, like at this point.
Yeah.
I do like what you said about, I'm going to address this right now, and this is it. It's done and over with. That is a good thing about the media in Kansas City is like they don't really like to harp on bad issues. Just because
Right.
our sports teams have not been good for so long, we don't want to any type of sour that greatness that is happening there. Next thing I want to address is why is now this boxing thing coming out? Like that is my biggest question about the whole situation. If you were legitimately teaching your son how to box, why didn't you say that in court? Why didn't you say that in your 2 hour or what was it an 8 hour interview that they had with the NFL? Why did he come out with a tweet about it or a press release? Like, why is it just now coming out? Like that raises red flags to like me. It is like when you have an argument between you and your wife, and then
Yeah.
you have like you're sitting back like, man, I should have said this, this, and this.
Right.
So like either he's lying
Okay.
to us or he's just like
Right.
I don't know. Like he is trying to make himself
Sometimes,
look better, I guess.
sometimes your lawyer tells you not to say anything
True.
about anything. Sometimes that could have been the case. I don't know, and I'm surprised that hasn't come out before. And so, why would he be saying anything now? Well, because all the charges are dropped, and now he's at camp, so that's why he's addressing it now.
Okay.
But good point. Good point, though. I don't know. That's something I probably would have followed up and asked him, or you would have asked him if we were the reporters there while he's still talking about it. He might have told us. That would have been a good question.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I watched a Dak Prescott interview earlier. Like I hate to bring the Cowboys into this
Right.
situation, but we follow the Cowboys a lot, and
Right.
they kept asking him about Zeke, like what is Zeke doing? What's like Zeke
Yeah.
doing? And Dak had a
Yes.
photo-esque answer. I'm here to get better and to worry about getting
Right.
prepared for the
Right.
season.
Man.
I think that's kind of the approach that Tyreek Hill could have took. So he probably needs to watch a Dak Prescott interview I think it was from like 3 or 4 hours ago. So,
Well,
I mean,
I think it was okay for him to say his piece, and then that's it.
okay,
In other words, I think it was okay. Like, in other
Right.
words, say what's happened, then it's over. Let's not talk about it anymore. Listen, that it always amazes me when players want to, like a month later, they're still answering questions on it. And that's what I mean. It's weird. Like, I would never, like, if I'm a Cowboy or a Kansas City Chief,
mm-hmm.
I'd say, guys, we're gonna. If I was DeMarcus Lawrence, if I was Chris Jones, a defensive tackle at Kansas City, I'd say this right off the bat, guys. I'm not answering any questions about my teammate Tyreek Hill. You go ask him that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that would stop anything. And Dak Prescott, same thing. I'm not answering any questions about Ezekiel Elliott. They take care of that. This is a business, and they take care of that behind the scenes, just like my contract is behind the scenes. I'm here. Let's talk football.
Yeah, you are exactly right on that. So let's go out and like move on and talk some more football. The highly anticipated, highly hyped, possibly overhyped Cleveland Browns.
Uh-huh.
Training camp sucks. You get in a lot of fights and stuff like that.
Right.
And apparently there was a fight in Browns camp earlier today or yesterday, and Freddie Kitchens, the new Cleveland Browns head coach, is trying to flex his muscle and made the whole team run because of a fight between two players. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Cam Thomas, defensive end, defensive tackle. I think he's an end. He got in a fight with the tight end there at Cleveland Browns camp. And it was, I don't know how bad it was, but I could see Kirksey, the linebacker for Cleveland, getting him out of there. Kirksey, by the way, is a hell of a player. Man, he just doesn't get his due. Number 58 in your Cleveland Brown program there. But, yeah, he was getting number 92, Cam Thomas, away and all that. And Freddie Kitchens, like you said, just flexed his muscles and made the whole team run. I mean, the way listen, you can't do that. The way the NFL is going, though, they're having younger players, so sometimes they'll accept it. This would not be accepted 20 years ago, 10 years ago when there was a bunch of 30-year-olds in camp. This isn't the Army. This isn't any kind of armed forces or anything like that. Because another fool gets in a fight at camp, you're going to make, the 9-year offensive tackle veteran run? No, sir. He could lose the team quickly. Freddie Kitchens better be careful here because I'm not running. Like I said, this isn't the Army, man. Because somebody mistake, I got to run extra 3 miles. No, you're treating us different. There's a pecking order. There's a totem pole. Yes, we are a team, but there is a pecking order. Just because Cam Thomas got in a fight with the tight end, man, make them run. Don't make me run. I'm out here. I'm trying to learn my craft and learn about how this offensive tackle is playing me in the playbook. And all of a sudden, you blow your whistle and say, "Everybody run." No, sir. That's not gonna. I wouldn't even. That's not gonna fly with me. And they can call me a camp nuisance or whatever, but that's just not gonna happen. So I would let my coach Freddie Kitchens know that you already off on the wrong track, buddy. So,
I see.
Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from here, but as a coach, I see what he is trying to do. He is trying to hold the team accountable for themselves. So like if other teammates start to see players start to chip at each other, and they need to defuse the situation. But at the same time, these are professional athletes. They're fighting for millions of dollars to be made making this team. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make the other guy on the side of the ball look bad, so it makes me look that much better in camp, so I get more time in preseason, so I can make this 53-man team. So I see both sides on the coin, but like what you said, I feel like if this was any team but the Cleveland Browns, just because they are so young, you'd be hearing about this all over the news. There'd be 300-pound linemen pissed off, man. And then let's say this happened to the New England Patriots, and Freddie Kitchens made Tom Brady run till he puked. Do you think Tom Brady would be handling that at all?
No, and I'll go back a little further. You're not making Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith run either.
No,
Jimmy Johnson was a hard ass. Like, he treated everybody was equally worthless, like Parcells.
Right.
But there's a pecking order. Jimmy Johnson cut players for falling asleep in meetings. He cut players for being late. You think he cut?
Nope. All right, guys. It looks like we might be having a little bit of technical difficulties with Marcus here.
Connection lost. There was a problem with network.
There we go. We got Marcus back, guys. So all we heard from you, Marcus, was Jimmy Johnson would cut people from meetings, from sleeping and meetings.
And sleeping. And then Michael Irvin, they'd be late. Emmitt Smith fell asleep in meetings. You think he cut them? No. There's a pecking order. They even asked Jimmy one time. They said, you treat players different. I mean, everybody's equally worthless right here, and they're all going hard. And those players led by example too. Michael Irvin them ran. He said, but you treat the Michael Irvins and Troy Aikmans and Darren Woodsons, you treat them different. So everybody, this is the NFL. If this was college and Freddie Kitchens was doing this, I'd run. I'm a 19, 20-year-old. That is more like a boot camp. If I'm in high school, I definitely run. And while I'm running, this is how you build camaraderie. And while I'm running with the idiots, like if I'm in high school or college, I'm letting them know you're already on my hit list.
Right.
To be honest, and I'm running because of you. But see, you can't do that for people that are, got families. I'm a grown ass man. I'm 30 years old. You're not going to make me run for some idiot 21-year-old in camp rookie that's fighting. No, it's not going to happen.
And to be told, we'll be honest, running at the professional level really doesn't hurt me because I need to run to get in shape anyways, and I know that, and I'm doing that on the side. How you really hurt me is my pocketbook.
Right, and in the NFL they have a conditioning thing, like to the beginning of camp. They don't touch a football, they don't touch pads.
Yeah.
And if you don't pass that, there's a few players that don't pass it every year. Man, you're in trouble. Actually, there's already been a couple of players, that have been released because they didn't pass the Robert Mkindici from the Cardinals, their former first-round pick 3 years ago, didn't pass the physical, the running, and he was already released already. And I think another player got released. If you don't pass that thing right away, you're done. So these players are already in shape coming into camp, man.
Yeah, so
they just got to get football.
Yeah. You have to get in game shape as we've been hitting on the last few weeks here with Le'Veon Bell and stuff like that. But speaking of the Cardinals here, let's talk a little Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray and Andy Isabella kind of got in a little sportsmanship argument. I like just like as you can say,
Right.
and quarterbacks and receivers and stuff like that really don't fight. You know, how do they
Right.
handle their arguments? They run a 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
And reportedly, Kyler Murray ran a 4.3 40-yard dash to beat Andy Isabella.
No, they actually had a race. Um, no, like they raced it out in camp. Like they did like a 100-yard dash or whatever. Andy Isabella beat him.
Okay, so on the
So
things that I saw that they said in a 40-yard dash, Kyler Murray ran a 4.3 versus Andy Isabella's 4.4. So
okay, yeah. You know what? Well, you're talking about. You probably talking about their combine numbers, right? Or
probably yes.
yeah, yeah. So I guess you know what? That's very unique that you bring that up. That means that Kyler Murray was faster than him in shorter distance, but they were going back and forth, and Andy Isabella was like, "I can beat you." Kyler Murray's like, "I can beat you," and Andy Isabella, I think, nudged him out, like, and they did a 60 or 100-yard dash to begin camp, and that's the kind of stuff that brings out the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know,
Any
that's
type
fun
of
stuff.
competitive atmosphere,
Yeah,
just like that, you have a rookie quarterback trying to make his
right.
claim. He's got to
And
do what
then
he's got to do.
see, and if you're Kyler Murray, you know you're fast as hell, right? And
Right.
you're thinking, man, Andy Isabella just beat me in a 100-yard dash, so that makes me feel good about the draft pick.
Right.
That makes me feel good. Hey, I can go to this guy. He can beat people. He's going to beat people deep.
I
And
can throw the
Andy
ball as
Isabella,
far as I can, and he's gonna go and
right?
get it.
Right. I was like, damn, he's faster than me. I'm going to get the ball to him. That's a big
Hmm.
feather in Andy Isabella's cap there. He was taken in the second round, number 62 overall, out of UMass, slot receiver, and he's always going to be linked to Josh Rosen. They traded Josh Rosen to Miami, and in turn got Miami's second round pick, number 62 overall, and they used that pick to select Andy Isabella, 5'8", slot receiver out of UMass. Kind of in that Julian Edelman, Cole Beasley mode a little bit. So yeah, Andy Isabella is always going to be linked to Josh Rosen. They were traded for each other, and that was a really good pick to get Kyler Murray, that slot receiver, Andy Isabella out of UMass. And so and Isabella is very fast, man. Like he just beat Kyler Murray in 100, and just for fun. So man, I love seeing stuff like that. I don't know if you do. Wouldn't you love to have been there to watch those guys race that 100-yard
Yes.
that 100-yard dash? I mean, I bet everybody was watching.
Yeah. It reminds me of a movie that I used to love. I believe it was Any Given Sunday, maybe.
Right.
It is kind of where like the new school tailback comes in, he beats the old
Right.
school tailback in that
Right.
40-yard dash, and
Right.
and it's kind of like the passing like of the torch. It's
Right.
like it is really fun to watch. That
Yeah.
is actually how we handle scuffs
Right.
like in the high school, because we can't
Yeah.
let them fight or
Right.
or
Right.
like
See
whatever.
who's
So
hey.
so we're like so they're jawing each other like, hey, go run a 40-yard dash and
Yeah.
see who wins. So it's a really good team building atmosphere.
Right. No. Yeah. That's pretty unique, because what's unique about it also is these players have so much pride, and so they don't want
Oh
to be
yeah,
like they don't want to lose. So like, if Michael Gallup challenged Amari Cooper to a race, that's kind of Amari Cooper would be a little worried to lose to Michael Gallup in front of everybody.
right.
It's just a lot of pride there. But I like that when two competitive people are like, hey, you know what? I can beat you. No, I can beat you. Let's do this. And Andy and from what I'm told, Andy Isabella edged him out in that 100.
Yeah, and this also proves that Kyler Murray and him are both the competitors.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so when the Cardinals are going to suck
Right.
this year and go 2-14,
Right.
they're still going to bring a competitive atmosphere to
Right.
the field.
Absolutely.
So it's very exciting if you're a Cardinals fan, the whole 1,000 people that are out there.
Right.
So let's go in switch modes 100%. Since we're still in the dog days of summer here, it's like 97 degrees here in southern Indiana. I got to know how hot it is in Texas there, but it's hot
Yeah.
here.
Hot.
It is baseball season, and the trade deadline is 2 days away. So this is where teams really start to become pretenders
Yeah.
and contenders. So this is usually where I really become full-blooded Chiefs fan, because usually
Right.
my Royals are packing up for the year. But the Indians and like Royals did play this past night, and Trevor Bauer got so pissed off that he threw the ball over the center field fence. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I've never seen that before. That was unique. I mean, I've seen a pitcher get upset and all that, and man, he just chunked that ball, and then the center fielder, again, his name is eluding me. He looked, and he was like, "What the hell?" And then he saw the ball land like way. He turned around like, "What just happened?" Man, yeah, Terry Francona wasn't happy. I mean, he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And to Bauer's credit, he apologized and everything, and he was remorseful. Hey, look, man, you know, we all get. I mean, have you been upset like that, where athletic wise or something's not going right, like where you do feel like chunking something and you do it? Like
Yep.
sometimes it happens, man. They were talking about his trade value might be diminished on the radio and other places. And I would still go after Trevor Bauer just because the guy gets upset. He has a good competitive spirit about him. I'm not totally tripping on that. Like I would still, if I'm a team, I'd still trade for him. Like that, Hey, we've all been there where we get so upset that he's a competitor. I don't mind the emotion in that one.
No.
Now Terry Francona is right to get mad at him. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what the hell are you doing? But in terms of the competitive spirit and the emotion, if you're a Cleveland Indian fan, I like it, and that would not deter me from trading him. So they were talking about that hurting his trade value. But now, yeah, he probably shouldn't have done that. Kansas City tattooed him there a little bit and got a bunch of runs. I think he gave up like 7 earned runs, and he hadn't done that. And if you look at some of the balls that were hit, they weren't like rockets. They were like little bloops and barely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it was just like, man, it happens.
Yeah.
So
like it does happen, especially when the
right.
Royals wear their gold jerseys. They are still undefeated when wearing gold. So just a little history there for you guys.
I still expect him probably to, I expect a team to trade for him. Matter of fact, they might even trade for him more. It shows you how he is competitive, man. He gets upset. We've all been there. Whoever says they haven't been there, okay. You know what I mean?
If you have not been there, you are not a competitor. You don't have a competitive bone in just like in your body.
Right.
Just like we were talking about last segment here. We applaud people that are competitors. So like him chucking the ball, as a manager or like a coach, I'm like, hey, don't do that. But that is simply just surface level to make people look like, hey, I'm pissed off at him, but truly I'm like, yeah, he's showing some competitive spirit. He is upset that like he is doing bad. Like, let's say, he just handed in the ball and walked up the court or the field. I'm like, man, does this guy like have any emotion? Is he even trying to pitch for us? So like, I'm not mad at him for chucking the ball. I'm not mad at him for, cursing words like just like on the field. Like, as a coach or like a manager, I have to say, hey, you're bad. Slap on the wrist. Go sit down and think about it. But really, I'm like, hey, man, I'm not going to change anything that you're doing. And I think this actually upped his value, just like a tad bit, because there are teams out there. I hate to say it, but the dreaded Yankees will probably get him because they need a pitcher that has a competitive edge, and is exactly what he has. He has a little bit of edge about him, like a little bit of grit, and it's shown. So,
look,
go ahead.
And we'll talk about this when it happens briefly. But Yankees are going to get a pitcher.
I thought they always get their guy.
Yeah, so they need pitching. They gave up, like 70 earned runs in like last week or something ridiculous in a few game span. Like what? I mean, it was shocking.
I think the Boston Red Sox were averaging 12.5 runs per game in that little 4-game series that they had.
There you go.
It was.
I thought the Toronto Blue Jays' Marcus Stroman was going to go to the Yankees. He went to the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird there. Syndergaard, I don't know if he's going to the Yankees. I think they're going to want a lot for him. Bumgarner's a candidate, but Bauer's also a candidate. The Yankees are going to have to give up some stuff for these guys, and I think they're going to end up doing it. So Yankees are going to get their guy, whether it's Syndergaard, Bauer, or Bumgarner, or somebody I haven't mentioned. But I thought it was going to be Stroman, but he went to the Mets.
Yeah. Speaking of the Yankees, like, I don't know how they always get their guy, but for some reason they always get their guy. Like, I don't know that they're paying the teams off. Like, hey, here's about $6 or $7 million, and you can just slide him for a couple AAA players that we have, or like, I don't know what they do, but it is just ridiculous. One more baseball fact before we go on to pick'ems. 4 days in a row, 4 different players hit 3+ home runs. That's the first time ever that happened in the Major League Baseball. So Are the balls juiced like your boy and Justin
Yeah.
Verlander said? Who knows?
Yeah,
It
I mean,
could
and then
be.
and Mookie Betts just did it too, and he's
Yeah.
got like 19 for the season, but he got out three in one game.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive. Hey man, the players are getting bigger and stronger, and they're swinging for the fences more. That's the bottom line. I don't know about any juice baseballs or anything, but we had a former player a long time ago, Adam Dunn, and everybody laughed at him because it was either a home run or he struck out.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be. He was born 20 years too early.
Right.
He would be perfect in today's game because that's what a lot of people are doing, and so yeah. Yeah, man, it's the players are bigger, stronger, and they're jacking that ball out of the ballpark, man. And they don't care if they strike out anymore.
Right.
It used to be a bad omen, like you can strike out and all this. Hey, there's players today, if they strike out 6 in a row, they're fine with it as long as they hit 2 home runs every 30 at bats. They're cool.
Yep.
They don't care if they strike out. So that's what's changed in today's game.
Yeah, and just to add to your fact that everybody's bigger, faster, and stronger. So the balls are coming to the plate faster. Therefore,
Yep.
the balls are leaving the park faster, giving it that
Yeah.
more, the physical
Right.
words, the motion plus velocity, or that physical term or that physics term, I should say. But nonetheless,
Did you see that? Did you see that breaking news I just saw on the screen? They just showed it again. AJ Green out 2 months. He messed up his ankle. They were feared that it could have been a knee and out for the season or broken ankle. He's out for the year, but
right.
he tore ligaments in his ankle. AJ Green, wide receiver, best player really on the Cincinnati Bengals. That's not going to help them. Now Tyler Boyd is going to have to step in and even be better. I love Tyler Boyd. I had him graded as a first-round receiver when he came out of Pittsburgh a few years ago, and he's going to have to take on even more of the load there. But that's a loss at Seattle week 1.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just thinking about that right now.
So
That's a real
I was
loss.
actually just breaking down the Cincinnati Bengals schedule last Friday, and I had a lot of hate, like a lot of hatred toward my picks because. But now that AJ Green is out, I mean, you guys might go 0-16. So,
Oh, shit, but if they do that, oh my God.
but like speaking of the AJ Green thing, they were even talks of getting him traded before the NFL trade deadline this regular season because the Bengals they're kind of in that reset mode. They're aging and they're just not that good. So so they could have traded AJ Green off for some assets, 2 or 3 picks in next year's draft. So now with him getting that ankle injury, they might be SOL.
Hey, that's a great point. I mean, if you're already shit out of luck for the year, I mean, and you're already in basically,
tank
mode because no NFL play. The NFL, they're not tanking, dude.
No.
These guys get paid to go out there and block and perform at a high level. So, but if you're already in that mode, like, man, I don't know if it's going to be a good year for us. You could get some assets for AJ Green. I mean, you might even bring in a first from some team that needs a great wide receiver that feels that maybe they're a great wide receiver away. You just never know. Or
might even try to trade away your aging quarterback to the Dallas Cowboys that need a second string quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton would be a great backup quarterback for Dak Prescott. That's one that, man, I wish they'd release Andy Dalton, but they're not going to release him, but you never know in today's NFL, man. I'm going to tell you right now, this is the way the NFL works, and it worked that way 10 years ago. It really works that way today. If you're a veteran and they know what they're going to get out of you, and they're paying you $3, $4, $5, $6 million, but there's a rookie, Michael, that comes up and he does about 80 to 90% of what you do, and they're paying him $500,000. They're going to cut the veteran, save $6 million, and almost get that same production.
Yep, you're 100% correct.
So the NFL is getting a little younger. They're phasing out the older players, the 31-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
The way the NFL is the oldest guy in your quarterback every year is going to be the quarterback. I mean, excuse me, the oldest guy every year on your roster is going to be the quarterback.
Right.
And then everybody else is going to be pretty young, like 30 on down, because they don't want to pay the 31-year-old that's maybe get 8-9 sacks in his 10th, 11th year, but there's a young up-and-coming player that almost does just as well as him, and they're paying him peanuts. They will release the veteran. So that's just the way it's working today, man. It's working that way a lot.
Which it sucks for the veteran players, but like you said,
Yeah,
that is just the way it is. Like I'm going to buy a dollar cheeseburger versus a $20
right.
cheeseburger that tastes the exact same. So
Yeah, that's yeah,
so
yeah.
let's go ahead and move on to the to our daily picks that we have
Okay.
going on here. We're going to cover two teams today. We're going to cover the New York Football Giants, trash, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. So Marcus, let's go ahead and just jump in with the New York Football Giants. We have a lot of their games are
Yeah,
already picked because of the conference and just how the games lined up.
right.
The first 2 weeks here. We have them losing to the Cowboys. Week 2, you have them losing to the Buffalo Bills. I had them beating the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
Moving on to week 3, the other team that we are covering, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Tampa Bay. Who do you got winning this one?
Oh, Tampa Bay will win this game. We're about to do Tampa Bay's schedule in a minute. I'm not completely sold on Tampa, but they're one of those teams that everybody thinks they're going to go. I think 3-13 and stuff. There's going to be a dumpster fire. I'm not totally sold on that either. But no, they're not making the playoffs. But no, they're going to beat the Giants week 3, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I have them beating the Giants too because the Giants are a dumpster fire, and the only reason why I had them winning week 2 is because it was their first home game of the season, and it is
Right.
hard to lose in the first 3 weeks if it's your first home game. Just like what you said, we're going to touch on the Buccaneers next. Their whole quarterback situation that they have going, I think they have 6 or 7 quarterbacks on the roster as of right now. So that whole quarterback situation that they have going
Yeah.
there, it's pretty crazy. So speaking of quarterback situations,
Right.
week 4, the Giants are back at home taking on the Washington Redskins. Who do you got winning that one?
I'm pretty sure we did the
Oh,
Redskins.
yep.
Yeah, no. But I know I probably do. I have the Giants winning.
Yeah, you had the Giants winning that game.
Yeah.
I just forgot to mark it down.
Right.
All right, so then the next week, they're at home still taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you got?
Minnesota. Wait. The Giants are at home.
Yep.
Man, I'll still take Minnesota, man. Yeah. I mean, with those recent injuries, Giants lost Corey Coleman. Corey Coleman's a really good receiver, kid out of Baylor. I had him a second round grade coming out of the draft. It's a second round, grade are pretty good grades. Giants are losing that one. That'll be the game they get. They just lost a player to drug suspension. Golden Tate. Yeah, they'll have no receivers. I mean, they're gonna have a bunch of rookie receivers so Golden Tate, he's out for 4 games, and that'll be his first game back, and it won't be enough. I got the Minnesota winning.
That's the first I've heard of that, so I need to read up about that. But I actually have the Giants beating the Minnesota Vikings this week. Looking at the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to go on a 3 or 4 game skid, and it starts with the New York Giants because they'll be looking past the New York Giants because they play like the Packers the week before, and then they play the Giants, and then they play Philly. So it's going to be kind of like one of those games that you're overlooking, I think, and so that's why I got them winning that game. We have them losing to the Patriots the next week, and then next up is the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. Who you got?
Oh, Kyler Murray and Andy Isabella connection. They'll connect. I'm expecting a big year from Andy Isabella and Kyler Murray. Like, that doesn't mean they're going to make the playoffs, and just that doesn't mean it's going to translate into even 8-8. So let's not just because I'm expecting decent stats. That's what I'm saying. But I'll have the Giants winning this one. Giants are at home.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll win this game.
So I actually have the Cardinals winning this game because I don't see the Cardinals going 0-16. So it's kind of just like a process of elimination. They got to win one. Actually, I take that back. I do have the Cardinals winning. I'm sorry. Next up is at Detroit. I have the Giants losing to Detroit just because Detroit's better.
Yeah, no, I got Detroit winning that one as well.
And then we have them losing to the Cowboys the next week, losing to the New York Jets the following week, going into the bye week. You have them 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2-8 going into the bye week. That's exactly what I had them as well. Coming off the bye week, they're traveling to the Chicago Soldier Field to take all the Bears. Who do you got?
No, the Bears. That's almost a no-brainer there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, I have them 2-9. What do you have them?
Same record.
Okay, Daniel Jones will be starting now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if the Giants are nowhere close to being 500 team after week 8, you will see Daniel Jones after the bye week come in. He will get slashed by the Bears, slashed by the Packers at 2 the next week. But who do you got winning that Packers game?
It's in New York, right?
At home. Yep.
God, it's hard for me to see Giants winning any games this year, but
yeah.
You know what? I'll give them a win here. I don't know why. Just because they haven't won in a while, they're an NFL team, and I know they'll be competitive. I mean, like I told you before, man, there's really no tanking in the NFL. I mean, these are you put your body on the line and your life on the line every week. How do you tank?
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't basketball, dude. Like, where you can kind of go half-ass a little bit, and kind of look like you're trying. You do that in the NFL, and your ass going to get handed to you.
Not only get handed to you, you will probably get hurt because that is when injuries happen. Is like when you half-ass stuff.
And let me just tell you this: you're always going to be on tape.
Yes.
So if they say, "Hey, that guard for the Giants or that tackle for the Giants is not, he's going in slow-mo," you're not going to get a big contract by the team because they're going to call you in and say, "Hey, man, you're not giving it your all." So You're always on tape in the NFL. That tape is brutal. That tape doesn't lie. So. Absolutely. So, so the Giants, I think, find a way to get it done here.
This is why the NFL season is so compelling. Is like you can have a team like the Giants be out of everything, not have a chance after week 7, but they're still out there possibly upsetting some teams like you had them beating the Miami Dolphins in week 15. It is just the luck of the draw.
Right.
But just to finish out the schedule that we already have picked here, you have them losing to Philly, beating the Dolphins, losing to Washington, and then losing to Philly to end out the 2019 season. We both have them going 4-12 on the season. Any additional thoughts on the 4-12 record?
No, I mean it's just a bad football team, and they've given away all their good assets. They traded Odell Beckham. They've lost Corey Coleman now, the ACL injury. Mm-hmm. It's bad. Who else? They just showed a Golden Tate suspended. So this is not a good season. And in Eli Manning, man, he has, check this out, Eli Manning. He has a chance to end his football career, right? And a lot of people tell me he's going to the Hall of Fame, and I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. He has 367 touchdowns and 361 turnovers. He has a chance to have more turnovers than touchdowns to end his career. That's never, I've never even seen that before. How can you put somebody in the Hall of Fame? You know what I mean? Right. And then he has 116 wins in his career and 114 losses. So he's got a chance to have more losses than wins in his career. How does that equate to the Hall of Fame? That just sounds crazy to me.
The only way it equates to the Hall of Fame is because of the 2 Super Bowl wins. That's what people are banking on, is the 2 Super Bowl wins, beating the undefeated Patriots. Yeah. With that awesome catch from his name slipped out of my mind, Tyree or whatever, and then just basically just his name. I think will kind of help him a little bit.
See, people love to say that, but I've never seen anybody enter the Hall of Fame because their name. You get in the Hall of Fame, people. This is the argument for Eli Manning Hall of Fame. They say, "Oh, he's had a couple of good moments," right? And then they say, "Oh, his name." I'm trying to think in the history of pro football, somebody getting into the Hall of Fame. Hey, Eddie Payton didn't get to the Hall of Fame. That's Walter Payton's brother. Jared Payton didn't get into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? I'm trying. Right. Just because your name, you better be a badass to get in the Hall of Fame. I'm trying to think of who had some great moments that was an average football player that got in the Hall of Fame. Lynn Swann for the Pittsburgh Steelers got in the Hall of Fame. He has great moments in the biggest stages. But he was a really good football player, but his stats aren't equal to some of the other greats. Like Drew Pearson of the Cowboys have better stats, and Drew Pearson's not in the Hall of Fame, which is a fucking shame.
Yeah.
Which is not. Drew Pearson has some of the greatest moments in in playoff history as well. Like greatest moments. Like it's crazy. And Jerry Rice just beat Drew Pearson's record of 20 straight playoff games with a catch. And Jerry Rice beat that record in an Oakland Raider uniform. Think about that for a second. Drew Pearson, 20. Can you imagine playing in 20 playoff games? Only like Tom Brady has been in more. Like only like Jerry Rice has been in more. And the reason Jerry Rice has been in more playoff games than Drew Pearson is he went to another team. He went to the Raiders and they made the playoffs. So man, Eli Manning, people that argument his name, Archie Manning was a better quarterback than Eli Manning, his dad. But Archie played on terrible teams, and Archie carried that franchise, much like Romo carried the Cowboys. So Archie should be in the Hall of Fame more so than his son. Peyton is a definite Hall of Famer. Peyton might be the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. He's got like 10 years or 12 years, some ridiculous of throwing 25 touchdowns in the season. That record probably will be broken one day by Mahomes or Deshaun Watson or somebody like that. But Peyton Manning is great. Eli Manning is average at best and been terrible.
You are right. You're right. So he has maybe about 8 or 9 games left in that old body of his, and then we'll get to see the new era. So let's go ahead and switch teams. Go down the coast. Go down to Florida. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They open up the season taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Who do you got winning that one?
They're at home.
Yep.
I'll take Tampa Bay. Listen, everybody's crapping on Tampa Bay, and I don't know how good they're going to be. I'm about to do the schedule on the fly, just like you are. I haven't really paid attention to it, but I do that on purpose. So I want to be surprised. You know what I mean? I want to give my full answer. Like I haven't studied this, to be honest. But I do study this. But this is what I do study, Michael. Bruce Arians has been pretty good at quarterbacks wherever he's gone.
True.
So I think Jameis Winston is going to – listen, this is Jameis Winston year. This is make or break stuff here.
He has to be good this year. Yep.
You fail with Bruce Arians, who helps out everybody's career like he did Carson Palmer, and you're done. You talk about a backup quarterback. Jameis Winston will forever be one of those backup, let's bring in Jameis. He can win a couple of games for you, to back up your starter. And that's a far cry from being a number 1 overall pick. So this is Jameis Winston put up or shut up year, and because of Bruce Arians, and Bruce Arians is going to give him all the rope he needs to hang himself. He's going to give him every opportunity to fail or every opportunity to succeed, and this is a big deal right here. It's a big deal for Jameis Winston, especially if he wants to get paid a lot of money coming up.
Yeah.
So Go. You would say something, but I have them winning week 1. They'll beat the 49ers week 1.
Yeah, I had them beating the 49ers as well, just because I don't know how the 49ers are going to be. People are really high on the 49ers. Like I'm hearing 11-4 or like 11-5, and just like it's mind-boggling to me. I mean, I really haven't a chance to look at the 49ers schedule yet, but I think they're going to lose this first week. But just like you said, this is Jameis's year. This is Jameis's first 4 weeks. If he doesn't perform in the first 4 weeks, I think he is out of there, because they proved last year that, they are ready to do away with like Jameson when they had Ryan Fitzpatrick in there for those 4 or 5 game stretch when he was, quote, hurt. So if you do not see him perform in the first 5 games, they have 5 or 6 quarterbacks on that active roster right now. One being Blaine Gabbert, the old Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback. Do not be surprised if he's in there by week 5 because their bye week is week 6. So
we'll see. I mean, this is make or break stuff, and usually Bruce Arians does well with quarterbacks. I would be a little surprised if Jameis Winston wasn't flourishing with Bruce Arians, but if he doesn't, he's out of there quickly.
Right. So moving on to week 2, this is a test for them at Carolina. Who do you got?
Jameis Winston, 3 interceptions, a pick 6, taking it back to the house. And I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina.
Yeah, I have Carolina going as well. I think Carolina's defense is really good. I love Luke Kuechly. He is just the heart and soul of that team. Week 3, we've already covered this. The Giants, we both had them beating the Giants. Week 4, they're traveling to the Los Angeles Rams to take on the Rams.
Couple of more interceptions for my boy Jameis Winston. They'll lose this one.
Yeah, I'm same boat with you. The leash is getting a little shorter now. They have beaten some 2 two bad teams, lost to two good teams. So it's kind of like, what do you do? But
Right.
next week they're traveling to the Superdome to take on the Saints. Who do you got?
This one's a high-scoring affair. I think Jameis Winston puts up about 4 or 5 touchdowns, and I think Drew Brees matches him, and I think the Saints win in the end.
Yeah, it's going to be a high scoring, just not on the Bucs side. The Saints are going to score about 60 points and just kill them.
Okay. All right.
Next week they're finally back home, taking on the Carolina Panthers. Like again, a repeat of week 2.
Right. This is where the buzzards are flying around Jameis Winston and Bruce Arians. This is one where you talk about the swing game we talk about a lot.
Yep.
If they lose this one, Blaine Gabbert will start the following week at Tennessee. Excuse me, after the bye week at Tennessee.
Right.
But Jameis Winston, they will find a way, Bruce Arians will find a way to beat Carolina for revenge from week 2, and Jameis Winston saves his job.
So I'm on the exact opposite side of coin of that. I have Carolina beating there because they've had big losses to the Rams, big losses to the Saints. Winston's kind of mentally checked out, loses to Carolina. It's be close, 21-14 type of score, but it's Blaine Gabbert time after the bye week going into Tennessee. So after the bye week, next week, they're at Tennessee. Who do you got?
I'll take it. Listen, you usually do well after your bye weeks. This is a big win. This is the biggest win so far in the schedule. I know I have them beating Carolina and Frisco, but this and it's hard to say a big win because it's against the AFC. I mean, it's not your, that's part of the last of your part of the last of your tiebreakers. But going on the road and beating Tennessee, I don't know. I think they could win it. I mean, I probably already did pick Tennessee probably to beat Tampa Bay, didn't I?
No. We haven't.
Oh, we haven't done that one?
Nope.
You know what? Okay, yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here. This is one of my first. I'll go ahead and let's do this. They're going to win at Tennessee.
With the new starting quarterback.
No, I have them with Jameis.
That's right. So our season's just hit the Y. You have Jameis and winning and going to the promised land. I have them going with Blaine Gabbert losing off the bye week versus Tennessee Titans. The Titans are going to be a team that you really don't want to play because you don't know what quarterback is because they have two equally talented quarterbacks. Because in years past, when Marcus Mariota he gets hurt, you can mark that game up as a win. But now they got Ryan Tannehill as a backup if they keep him there. So if
let me say that your scenario is more likely to happen than mine. Let's just say that. I'm going on mine. But yeah,
you're going on the limb there.
Yeah.
Well, then the following week they're back on the road still take on the Seattle Seahawks. Who do you got?
Loss. So I don't know what I have them now, but that's a loss, Seattle.
It looks like 4-5. It looks like.
Okay.
So I have them going losing to Seattle as well. Once Blaine Gabbert gets back home and kind of gets his bearings of like around him with the new team, like he'll do better. But going into the arguably the loudest indoor stadium, I say arguably because it's been proven that the Saints or the Seahawks have been pumping sound into their stadium like little cheaters. But I had them losing to the Seahawks, giving us a matchup back home versus the Arizona Cardinals. Who do you got?
I got Tampa Bay winning. They're going to go on after they lose to Seattle here. They're going to go on a little run.
A little bit of run, yes. Meaning one win. I do have them beating the Arizona Cardinals. I don't like the Cardinals. I never wished ill will on it like on a team, but what they did to their head coach and Josh Rosen this past year, I hope they lose every game from here on out. The next week they're taking on the Saints. I have them losing to the Saints at home.
Second biggest win of the year. They beat the Saints.
Giving you guys 2 straight wins in a row. Giving you the next week going to the Mercedes-Benz Dome, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Who do you got?
Atlanta will win this game.
I have Atlanta winning this game as well. Just Julio Jones is too much for them.
Right.
Back on the road, taking on Jacksonville Jaguars. Who do you got?
I'll take Jacksonville at home. That defense is pretty tough, man. I mean, Nick Foles won't be great in another uniform, but he won't be terrible either. Nick Foles will be back to his average quarterback playing self if he's not in a Philadelphia Eagle uniform. So, but he'll be adequate enough. You give Nick Foles a good defense and simple play calling, and he's probably going to take Jacksonville to 9-7 or whatever, but they'll win this one. Tampa
Yeah,
Bay will lose.
I'm taking every fact that, or like every point that you just made, and I'm going to twist it just because of Nick Foles is not going to be as good in a different uniform. That's why I have Tampa Bay beating Jacksonville Jaguars. It was at week 11. It looks like.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next week, take on the Indianapolis Colts at home. Who do you got?
I got them beating the Indianapolis Colts at home. At Raymond James Stadium, baby. The Pirates, they're out. They're out for blood. I got them beating the Colts.
Yeah, I have them losing to the Colts. I think the Colts are going to make another post or another late season run to win that division. So they have to win. So this is another 8 or 9 game tear for them. The next week they're traveling to the Detroit Lions to take on the Lions. Who do you got?
They're gonna be riding so high after beating the Colts, and they're having a decent season. I don't even know what do I have. How many wins do I have them now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins.
Wow, they're losing to Detroit.
Yeah, I have them losing to Detroit as well because just like I said about the Giants, they're not going to go 0-16, so the Lions have to get a win somewhere. In what better way in late December at home. The next week they're at home taking on the Houston Texans. Your Houston Texans. Who do you got?
This is a loss for them. Houston Texans will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a close one. Houston will be hitting their stride. Deshaun Watson. Man, I don't even know if I even want to talk about it because I'll go off on a tangent, but I've heard a lot of experts say Houston's going to go 6-10, and I would love to ask those experts, have you ever seen Deshaun Watson have a losing record at any level? You think that happened? Like, the man went 11-5 with the worst offensive line, and I'm not joking, and I'm not, I say something for hyperbole. That was the worst offensive line in the history of pro football.
Right.
It's worse than the Tampa Bay offensive line in 1976.
These are also the same experts that are saying the Buffalo Bills are going to go 10-6 and win the AFC East. So
yeah, so I mean, just stop. Deshaun Watson is special. So stop me wake me up when he has a losing record.
There we go.
In his career of any level. Go ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I agree with you.
So I have Houston. Listen, Houston might not go 13-3, but they ain't gonna have a losing record. Let's just get. This is okay. But I have Houston beating Tampa Bay right here, and then it kind of brings Tampa Bay down back to Tampa Bay is gonna be in that playoff machine mode where you plug in the playoff machine, and they possibly could make the wild card if things go right. If they win their last 2 home games against Houston and Atlanta, and they're gonna drop Houston, and that loss will push them out of the wild card contention.
So looking at your schedule, you have a couple big wins here for the Bucs over the Colts, over the Saints, and over the Panthers.
Yeah,
I don't have them winning any of those games, but I do have them one big win on the season, and that's against the Houston Texans. I think Houston Texans are kind of overlooking them, giving them the last game of the year. Who they play there? They play Tennessee Titans, which will be possibly for the division championship because the Colts, the Titans, and the Houston will all be right there. So I'm giving the Buccaneers this win, given a Week 17 matchup, taking on the Atlanta Falcons at home. Who do you got?
They're gonna knock Atlanta probably out of the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs, and I would think about that. If you're Tampa Bay and Atlanta needs that victory to make the playoffs, man, that would tickle me to death if I could beat one of my rivals in Atlanta. Yeah, absolutely. The Tampa Bay beats Atlanta. What is that, 8-8 now, or what do I have them at?
Yep, you have them at 8-8.
Wow. And that is a heck of a season for Bruce Arians. And that guess what? This season got Jameis Winston another contract.
Which is bad for the Buccaneers, to be honest. Like I think Jameis Winston is a below average quarterback. Like I rank quarterbacks in 3 tiers: 1 through 10, tier 1; 11 through 20, tier 2; everybody else, tier 3. He's a tier 3 quarterback. So just take that as you will. Okay. I had them losing to Atlanta in the final game of the year, giving them a 5-11 on the record. On the season, so it's a little bit better than the 3-13 that I originally thought they were.
I automatically just before we picked it, I had them like at 5-11 or 6-10. The fact that I have them 8-8, it's way above what I thought. But I just think that Bruce Arians is a good quarterback whisperer, and I think he's going to get the best out of Jameis Winston. But the best is 8-8. That doesn't mean they're but they're going to have a chance, in my opinion, in the final 2 games. If they win the final two, they got a shot. Like if they go 9-7, if they had beaten Houston, they have a shot at it. But other things have to go. Other things have to go their way. Like to go 9-7 get in the playoffs. But they're not gonna make it. They'll be 8-8.
I don't think the Buccaneers. I don't think any team that goes 8-8 will be getting a wild card this season. If you're going to go 8-8, 9-7, you have to win your division because in the AFC it's so stacked that you're going to have a 10-6 team or even a 11-5 team in the 5-6 seeds.
Yeah, the NFC. You mean NFC? Yeah.
Yeah. So just take that as you will. So if the Buccaneers want any chance of making the playoffs, they have to win that division.
And for Tampa Bay, I mean, everybody's going to be watching Jameis Winston. That's the obvious. See how well he does. He and Mike Evans, that connection will get some fantasy points. Obviously, I think Mike Evans. Don't you think Mike Evans a first round fantasy pick?
Yeah.
Or something like that. So, but man, the guy I'm going to be watching for Tampa Bay is Devin White, first round pick, 5th overall selection out of LSU. I'm going to compare Devin White and Devin Bush's both Devins, their careers, and see how well they do. I think they're both going to be up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Devin Bush, the middle linebacker out of Michigan, who went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now they're going to put him in that Ryan Shazier position. So Devin White, middle linebacker, they say he's going to be the best since Derek Brooks, and Derek Brooks is a Hall of Famer, so that's heavy shoes to fill. So we'll see how well Devin White plays, and we'll see how well Devin Bush plays. And so I like to compare these two because they were both like Tampa Bay was actually thinking about Devin Bush, and then it's a comparison there. And if Devin White had slid down to where Pittsburgh picked and they took Devin Bush, they would have taken Devin White. So this is going to be interesting to see both Devins, see how well they do at middle linebacker. I expect big things out of them. I expect a Van Der Esch, Leonard for the Colts situation where which rookie's going to lead the NFL in tackles. Who's going to get that Defensive Rookie of the Year? And Van Der Esch would have gotten it, but he didn't start a few games, and so Sean Lee came back, and Van Der Esch kind of just played spot duty. If Van Der Esch had played all 16, he would have beaten Leonard in tackles for the Colts. So and that hurt Leonard, by the way, because when the playoff time came around, he was hurt. He played every snap for the Colts, but he did get first team all rookie and Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think, obviously over Van Der Esch. But I'm going to be comparing Devin White and Devin Bush. That's going to be interesting to see. I love watching those middle linebackers run sideline to sideline. That is absolutely fun. Plug up, it's important who you have up there in the middle to help you out.
Speaking of having people up there in the middle, he has a great player in front of him in Dominic Sue. So he will not have as many linemen on him because they'll be doubling Sue. So that gives him a little bit more free runs to play. So that's a positive for the Buccaneers.
Also, he also has Vita Vea.
Right.
Vita Vea is like 400 pounds, man. I mean, I don't know. Let me see. I had to talk to a friend about this the other day about Vita Vea and some other players that they only list like at 330, and I'm like, dude, let me see Vita Vea. There's no way that he's 330. Look, they have him at 350 here in the program. Mm-hmm. Man, that dude looks easily 400. I think they just put 330 and 340 just to not scare people.
Right.
Yeah, because, I mean, Vita Vea is easily like 400 pounds, and he plugs up the middle there. So they're going to be protecting Devin White. That's why we're talking about this. When you have Vita Vea and you have a Dominican Suit up and protecting you, that gives you the freedom to roam a little better sideline to sideline. Yes. And getting tackles and shooting gaps up the middle and not letting them get through. Man, you have those big hosses up there in front, man. I would love to play middle linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's fun.
Being a linebacker myself at the college level and the professional level and in the indoor game, that was the best thing in the world when I didn't have hands on me. And I played last couple years of playing indoor football. I didn't have a hand touch me on 16 straight games. It was a beautiful thing.
Wow, man! So you could just roam free and make tackles, man. Yep. That's beautiful. I'm trying to plug in this.
When you average 27 tackles a game, there's a reason. Yeah. Because your defensive line is doing great.
You're getting freed up more. That's beautiful. So I'll be interested to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and how Devin White plays. That's a big deal for me. All eyes will be on him when I'm watching Tampa Bay play on defense.
Which they do open up. I believe August 7th is their first game, the first preseason game, obviously. So here in about 8 or 9 days. So guys, that's going to be it for today's show. We broke down the Giants and the Buccaneers. tomorrow we're going to break down the Atlanta Falcons just a little bit here. Kind of stay on that coast of things there. So tomorrow's Atlanta Falcons, and hopefully some more baseball news happens.
Yeah, and then I want to talk. We'll talk a little MVP race. Who are the
Yes.
top MVP candidates for next year?
Patrick Mahomes. Game over.
I have a feeling Patrick Mahomes is going to be talked about tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%, guys. So join us tomorrow, same time, same location. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a couple friends. Have a good day.